So thank you for sharing that, Patricia. And I'm writing down your question about um, getting more attention to your event. So we'll circle back later about that.
Okay, thank you.
So yeah, does anyone else want to unmute? I'm seeing some things in the comments. We can unmute, or what I'll do first is I'll read, and then if anyone wants to chime in and add to that, that would be great. So Jody says she's getting leads from LinkedIn. Congratulations, Jody. You know, I find that I see your posts, and then I don't know if you've seen, then maybe I overshare. Like when I was in my 9 to 5, this is what has been happening. Like they really resonate. So they're
Those are
great, and
helpful, I think,
congratulations.
for people to like connect. Because I think a
Yeah.
lot of people, especially like career seekers, they're a little bit more, they want to be a little bit more hidden on LinkedIn. But I
Yeah.
know that they're lurking from because when I asked people that book a call with me, I'm like, okay, like how did you find out about my services? Like a few of them had been like, yeah, LinkedIn. I'm like, oh,
Mm,
hey. So I'm doing
nice.
something.
Awesome. That's great. And you don't have to have the answer today, but because my brain is always questioning. I'm wondering, like, how did they find you? Like, somebody reached out to me once that they were looking for a speaker, and I'm like, okay, great. I know it's in my profile. I know I've shared some social media posts, but you're obviously doing something right, and you're probably maybe you could nod or let me know. Maybe you're using some keywords that they might be looking for in your content, or I'm not sure. But
No idea. I'm just gonna assume consistency is what my assumption is because I'm on it really like the 5 days a week, and I'm like I make myself sit there and like do like 2 hours and like schedule my posts, and so I'm thinking that might be helpful, and just kind of having similar messages but like in different forms, if that makes sense. So I'm
for
trying to
sure.
reinforce with people.
Yeah, never be afraid to say that. I shared that post, or I shared that topic before. When you're showing up and you're sharing that message in different ways, then you're resonating. And thank you so much. So Felicia says more engagement. That's awesome, Felicia. Did you want to add anything to that?
Um, sure. I found that in December I kind of slowed down with even posting, but I'm still getting these like LinkedIn, wow, you've gotten impressions. And I'm like, what? Really? And so it does show that once we do the work, like LinkedIn does actually work for you.
Yes.
So I'm
Awesome.
looking forward to getting back into it this month. But I just thought that was quite interesting because before I did your workshop, it was all crickets on LinkedIn for me. So I think that this was a great tester that even if we can't actually engage for a couple of weeks, it does still do something for you.
Yeah, well, that's great. And congratulations about looking at your analytics. So that's a win too.
Thank you. That's all because of you, girl. Yes.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, Elaine, for me, it's being more active and making great connections. And I loved your carousel, Elaine. Like
Thank,
it was so bright and colorful.
thank you. Kind of keep it with my brand colors.
Yeah.
But it was really fun to put that together. And I will be even more active. I'm just getting LinkedIn into my workflow, but already making great connections and having great conversations. And I'm loving that hearing that other people are saying that LinkedIn keeps working even after the posting, because that's right up my alley. That makes me want to keep investing in that.
Yeah, and to add to that, something came out like maybe a month and a half ago where with LinkedIn, your content is going to start showing up like days after. So when I say showing up days after, somebody goes on to LinkedIn a couple of days and then it's like they didn't see your post that day. And I know that I've seen it with my clients and for myself where I'm getting engagement like 3 days later, and definitely across my notifications, it'll show me that somebody posts something. And then when I take a look at what that person shared, I'm like, wow, they have quite a lot of engagement. And then I take a look and it says that they shared it 3 days ago. So I just love anything that's gonna, like any platform that's gonna help us out a bit for that. Hello, Susanna, great to see you. So let me read on FIFA. I've made many new connections on LinkedIn. Congratulations. You want to speak about that?
Yeah, so yeah, one of them is Patricia. So I really I've gotten to know her a little bit more. And I'm looking forward to getting to know everybody else as well. And just through your content, like seeing all of you show up. Like I see Elaine's a lot, I see Jody's a lot. So it's like, interacting and engaging with these posts and supporting others, it's nice. And just reading what you have to say, it gives me a lot of inspo for my own posts as well.
Well, that's great. And the way it's actually working, I mean, LinkedIn is about like they have it set up where you're sharing a post, but the platform really wants you to engage. And it's so nice that we have this community here, and then it's just like really organic. We're engaging with each other, and then LinkedIn's like, "Hey, you guys." They might not know who you're engaging with, but it's like, yes, now let's show your content even more. So that's fantastic. Um, Zuni said, new connections on LinkedIn and recently got nice acknowledgement for a self-marketing workshop I gave to a business students at John Molson School of Business. Congratulations, Zuni.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm not showing my face. I'm on my back in my bed. Probably not a good picture of me to show up, but yes, I'm very. This is the first time it kind of happened that I got approached because somebody found me on LinkedIn. I gave that workshop to, I don't know, 70 students, and then they actually posted a summary of what they learned from me. And I just thought, wow, that is such a nice acknowledgement of, of students. And it was just really pleasant. But I have to say, Denise, I'm probably the least active one in this group. And on LinkedIn, probably FIFA knows. I know FIFA, she's my friend. And I use LinkedIn private message a lot, but I really need to be more active on LinkedIn, especially because my premiere for my movie is coming out this spring. So
Mhm.
time to time to get active.
Yeah, well, that's great. And that's great that somebody shared a post. So I don't know if you've thought of this yet, Zuni, but you said someone shared a post about the talk that you gave. That could be your post on LinkedIn. So when you're going to repost it, though, don't just hit repost because often I see people just reposting and they're like, "Yay, I've done the thing. I've reshared from another account." But if we are not actually like introducing that post with a caption, then what happens is if you just reposted what that person had and it shows on your feed, yes, we will see it, but not as many people will see it from your connections. And also, when we go to like it, put a reaction on it, or make a comment, all of that engagement that we do, because you didn't add a caption to it, it's going to show up on the original person who posted it.
Okay,
Did you
thank
get
you.
all that?
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And then FIFA saying, I also agree with Patricia. I love getting to know all of you through your content and finding collaboration opportunities. And okay, great. So does anybody oh, Suzanne, I see that your hand is up.
I didn't want to interrupt,
Go
so I put my
ahead.
hand up. So I'm just like Zuni. I think I'm the least involved right now with LinkedIn, but I think I just want to ask because I think I'm hesitant because I'm in the process of rebranding. I don't know if I told you that before. So the printing part is changing its name. I'm working on the website now. Like I hired somebody to do the content. So I was like, I have the printing and graphic design part that I do, and that's going to change maybe my profile and a little bit of everything once it's all up. And then I also do, I'm also a stationer, so I do wedding invitations. And I feel like now I've been connecting with a lot of vendors. So would that be a good place to connect with people within that industry as well? Like within the, I want to use LinkedIn to get more business people that need printing and graphic design, but is this also a place that I can find other vendors and connect with them? And should that be the same account or should that be separate?
No, you could definitely use your LinkedIn profile. And I wouldn't worry about the fact that your website is being updated. So, like all
Okay.
social media platforms, LinkedIn would prefer if we're not sending people out to another
Okay.
link.
Okay.
I do still do it on occasion for myself, or I may put it in the comments. Um, but you can easily say in your caption for people to send you a direct message if they want to learn more. So I would
Okay.
say that you're using LinkedIn still to share posts that that puts you in front of that really resonates with those printers and the vendors so that when you start to send out those connection requests to them, they're going to see the content there. Like, why would I want to connect with Susanna? Oh, okay, this is what
Oh,
she,
yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then, you can thank them. So once they've accepted, Joe or Lisa, thanks so much for accepting. Have a great day. And then perhaps they're sharing content on their profile as well, doing some engaging. And you can like even something that I did for with somebody the other day was that I reposted their post into their DMs. And I'm like, oh, that
Oh,
was so great. I loved everything that you
okay.
said here. And I really did. And they really
Yeah.
appreciated it. And then we were able to take that talk a bit further. And with regards to the wedding season, I know that you can share content on LinkedIn because you do printing already, right?
Yeah.
And
hmm
it's January, which means that people are getting married in the spring. Like you know
Yeah.
how it all rolls.
Yeah.
So, can you necessarily find individuals on LinkedIn who are getting married? Probably not. But people are people who are behind those
hmm
titles. They're probably going to a wedding or getting married or about to become in-laws and
Yeah.
things like that. So that's all part of what you do as a printer. So I
Yeah.
think that you could have like different pillars, including
Mhm.
wedding
Yeah.
invitations.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure, like, to see how I can display that. And mostly, I think I was thinking more not to find the couples, but I've been connecting, like, at the wedding show, connected with vendors, so other people in the industry that we're like collaborating together with, right? So making connections through there.
Yeah.
Um,
So, oh, go ahead.
no,
Oh, did
no,
you have?
yeah, just, yeah, no, no, no.
Yeah. So you're sharing that content I spoke about, and then things
Mhm.
that you can do is, especially if you're really aware of like the wedding shows that are happening right
Yep,
now, you can go to those websites, see who the vendors are, and then you look for the company pages on LinkedIn.
on
And
LinkedIn, yeah.
then going on LinkedIn, seeing what those company pages, following them, and then seeing like who are those decision makers, and then you can see who it is that you can connect to.
Good idea. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's true.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Welcome. Yeah. Does anyone have anything else to add or anything that they'd like to share? No? Okay. So again, this today is all about like answering your questions and just want to say that I love the carousels that I saw. Like FIFA, I saw your carousel and I was like, oh my gosh, I was just showing these kind of carousels in the videos and like she put out this, right? And Jody, I saw one of your carousels and I'm always big on like titles that grab people. So slightly off topic, I put up a newsletter the other day and I was just fooling around with the titles. Like, what is a title that is going to make somebody say, oh my gosh, she's talking to me, or I have to read more? So I think it was Jody, it was like your second last title. I can't remember, but it was more of a title that was a you title, meaning like whoever is reading it, it was definitely directed to them. So great work on the carousels. Does anybody have any questions about the carousels, creating carousels? Yes, Patricia. Oh, you're on mute.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
okay.
know
That's
if I must have missed that session.
no problem. So, lucky thing, Patricia, I have some screens prepared for everybody, and they're going to be about carousels. Hold on. Okay, so I do have some carousels, other carousels that are examples that I have examples of, since that was what we were speaking about. And I also want to mention that outside of that, just so you know, I'll be circling back to it. I know that there were some questions previously about premium, so I wanted to talk about that as well, LinkedIn Premium. So thank you everyone, you know, who created carousels and shared them within the group. And if you haven't created a carousel yet, hopefully some of these would be some great inspiration on what carousels would look like. And I'm gonna, you know, if time allows, I'm gonna see who else, who's I can pull up from the group. Now, here's a carousel, and carousels, they can be something that's very educational, and it lets everyone know about like what it is that your brand does, or it could speak about a specific type of social media post that speaks to a pain point that your target audience has. And this one here is a carousel that was done for this client, and she does grant writing for Canadian nonprofits. And what we did for a carousel, now this here, it is actually her service book that she has on her website. And knowing that not everyone is going to go to her website because all of these platforms are online, they're just different ways for you to reach your target audience. So the thing is that on LinkedIn, somebody could wonder, what is it that Laura does? This person here is named Laura. Laura has this workbook on her website. And what we decided to do with this is that we decided to upload the carousel. So Patricia was asking like about carousels. So Patricia, carousels, and I'll reshare the video like back to you in the group. Carousels, they're uploaded differently on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, you can upload pictures, and when you upload pictures, it becomes a beautiful collage and people can click into it and they open up. But a carousel is like it's a carousel that you would see on Instagram. So I'm not too sure if you're familiar with on Instagram, where there's multiple images, or there's an image or graphic that has some text on it, and all you got to do is you have to swing it from right to left and you can read through. So unlike Instagram, on Instagram, you can upload your carousel through uploading JPEGs or PNGs, like those images. And on LinkedIn, they have it that you have to upload it as a document. So if you are using, like I tend to use Canva, a lot of my clients use that. Whatever you are using for your images, you would have to save it as a PDF. And then on LinkedIn, when you upload it as a document. So I'll show it to you really quick before I go on to something else. But here's an example of a carousel. We took our client's service page or service booklet, we uploaded it, and then what we did was we wrote, let me go to it. We wrote a caption for it, and I'm going to the post. And here it is. We wrote her caption. We like to put some yellow in there because her company is Yellow Tree. She has a company page. So what we do to get some attention to the company page is that we actually tagged her page so that if somebody could say, okay, what's Yellow Tree about? They click on that, it goes to her page. And for the carousel, we kept it brief. Now, when it comes to carousels, because you have so much information, I personally like to keep my captions brief because I want people to get more within the images that are being shown. So there's the caption. And then when we go to the carousel, now if you're on your phone, you could swing it across. However, on laptop or desktop, you just hit the arrows. So we have the title page, and then we go to the second page, and we talk about like what the mission is. And then we have like services at a glance. So this is pretty much like if you were to go to her website, you would literally be able to download this. And actually, we have it on her website as a download. So she's able to get your email address. But we decided like, let's create some more trust on LinkedIn and just actually put up the carousel. So when we put up the workbook, I should say, the very last one, on that page, there is a call to action. I love to have call to actions. So this one says to connect with us. And in this case, we have this is not clickable, but because we uploaded it, it does have her email address. It also has her website. And but right in the caption, we usually tell everyone to send us a message. So we have here, please send us a message for details on our services. Let me take a look at another one for you. Here is one that we did for our client Sheila. This one here was done about a year ago, and we're probably going to redo it. We're going to repurpose it. And this one talks about women entrepreneurs accessing capital. And we thought that even though we shared this on Instagram, it would be great to share this on LinkedIn, because on LinkedIn, you know, she's looking to work with women who are looking for investment into their business, and also she's looking for investors as well. So this one here is an educational carousel. The other one I shared with you before was more about the business. And this one is about, sorry to go up and down, but this one talks about where are women entrepreneurs currently accessing capital and what's the problem with it. So this carousel here is actually 8 pages. So I always like to have that title page or that first page that asks the question. Oh, I'm on page 4. Let me go. Here we go. What are women entrepreneurs currently accessing, or where are they accessing capital? Then you go to the next page, and she just educating the audience through personal savings, friends and family. So if you notice, like we're saying friends and family, and then she's stating like what is the reason why this is not working. Now, content that does really well is content that is more about keeping it problem focused versus solutions. And that was something that I really learned quite a bit. And I think Teresa Miller is on the call. We've worked together before. And yeah, so something that she has shared with me is that, and I found that it's really helped out quite a bit, is keeping my social media posts more problem focused. So I don't usually say things like 5 ways to do this, and it's giving somebody all of the answers. It's more about like 5 things, and then what is the problem, so that people are like, oh my goodness, I think she's speaking about me, or perhaps like I know somebody who is actually going through this, and then we have that call to action for people to reach out. We have here credit cards, but then Sheila shares here that high interest rates, and then personal line of credit, etc. So going through all of this, she talks about the different ways, right down to like loan sharks, the big time interest rates, bootstrapping, and then she has at the very end here that these are not solutions, they're just band-aids. So that is what the problem is. We don't necessarily have a call to action, but she has a very strong, powerful comment here that these are not solutions. And then we have here to contact us for more details. I'm going to show a couple more here. This is Natasha Pennycook. And this one here was a couple of years ago for Martin Luther King Day. And 4 ways we could all help to make Dr. King's dream a reality. So this here is what we did was we took a backdrop of a march, and what we did was that we kept that backdrop all the way through, ensuring that any images or any text that we put on top of that is still going to stand out. So we have the caption at the very top. And then this one here, it wasn't a call to action to reach out, but it was a question for engagement. What actions are you making to end racism? So going through, we have like from 1 to the last number here, and we have Natasha's logo at the bottom, but we've used like the bright yellow text on there and just keeping that feeling all the way through. So these are different things that you can do in terms of like not just sharing about your business, but it also shares like what it is that you stand for in your company. In the video that I shared the other day, I shared that I had a carousel that spoke about Orange Shirt Day or Indigenous Day, and I used that day to educate the community on LinkedIn. And then I have one last here. Um, nope, that is it. So yeah, so those are examples of some carousels that I wanted to show you on top of what was discussed in the video. So does anybody have any questions about the carousels that they created, or any questions about carousels that's maybe stopping them from creating one? Yes, Suni.
Hi. Okay, so I don't think I've ever done a carousel before. This is really interesting. Thank you very much. So for my documentary movie that is about to premiere this spring, would it be a good idea if I do a carousel of my protagonist in the movie? FIFA will probably be smiling. Would that be a good idea to do that on LinkedIn?
I think it would be great to do it. So with a carousel, you can't do it with videos. And I'm not too sure if I'm answering your question, but I'm wondering, and you can add to this, Zuni. I think a great carousel would be like why you thought it was important to do this movie. So the first page of that carousel would, it could be like why I thought it was important to do this movie. So you've got the title, and then when you scroll to the next one, there's an intro where you're saying on that second carousel what it is that women or the individuals, like what is the problem that people or this community is going through. And then it goes to the next carousel and you highlight again like certain problems. So all of these carousels could be the issues, and then it ends with this is why I felt it was important to create this movie. Movie date launches on this date. DM for more details, something to that effect.
Okay, I like that. So on Canva, I would just be creating a bunch of well, not quotes, but text, and then download it as a PDF and upload it to LinkedIn, right?
Yes, definitely. So I in that video and and the video's not too long. In that video, I did share like the back end of what it is I do in Canva. So you'll be able to see. And then I've also shared how it is that you can upload, because when you're uploading it, LinkedIn will ask you to title it as well. So when you think about a title, think about in some cases, like for you, it could just be like why I decided to make this movie. But in other cases, like when I think about some of the content that I'm creating on LinkedIn that specifically speaks about, what are the challenges entrepreneurs feel when posting on LinkedIn? And I think you've got about 50 something characters. I think about when I create that title, what are the titles that an entrepreneur who is going through a pain point would put on Google? And then I make that as my title, because LinkedIn is also a search engine. And when people are looking for a pain point or they're looking for someone in your industry, you want to find like different ways for your content to come up. So I just want to add one more thing to that. I talked about having more of your information in your carousel, but LinkedIn, with the exception of that title, LinkedIn won't be able to read what your keywords are. So you want to have some of those keywords in your caption. Am I making sense? Is everyone good with that?
So much. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, so anyone have any other questions about carousels? Or anyone want to talk about some of their responses or how do they feel? And no pressure, I'm just asking. How do they feel creating their carousel? What did they like about the process or what did they find a little tricky? Jody.
Um, yeah, I think for me, I find the process like it's like a creative process, of course, but I'm also finding that like the carousels, I'll be honest, take a lot of time. I don't know if anybody else finds that as well who's doing the carousel. And it's like I look at the time, I'm like, oh my gosh, I spent like almost an hour doing one carousel. And so I'm just kind of thinking in general now, because I do spend a lot of time on my LinkedIn content. Um, and I feel like I'm sort of neglecting the long form content. So now I'm like, is there a better strategy? Like maybe I do focus on the long term content and take snippets from that. I'm not too sure. What is your strategy, Dee? What works for you?
I agree. Like so LinkedIn loves carousels, but the great thing about the platform is that there are so many different ways that you can show up as well. And yes, thank you for asking that. I will get real. So, like our clients, we send them their content every single week. And what we do is like every other week we'll include a carousel. So every 2 weeks, because it does take quite a bit of time. And we have our clients who are sending us video as well. So in terms of video, yes, we still make sure that we share a good caption in there. I don't like to go too long with the caption because I want people to watch the video. So I have to remember that to include some keywords in there and speak to those pain points. So the good thing about that is that if you're really great at doing video, which I've seen you do a lot of like great video. I watch and I'm like, I wish I could do that. So, you have like you're really great at keeping that camera on the go or finding those snippets. And then, so for you, it's great because now you can spend a little bit less time on the caption.
Mm,
So carousels, I would say good strategies like every 2 weeks
okay.
at least 2 weeks. But I just wanted to share with you like what it is, like how it is to create carousels. So everybody was banking on TikTok going down. And a lot of these platforms are like, oh, TikTok's going down. So LinkedIn is like, we're going to put more focus on video. So
Mm,
video is a great strategy. Doing the long form content is great. For me, just because I'm like keeping track of like how much time, I usually keep my captions for my longer form content at like 1,300 characters. 1,300, maybe 1,500 characters. I do like I will write it out and then I might put it through chat to say, make it 1,300 characters or like knowing that I've done a word counter and it's like, oh, this is 1,700 characters, but I think everything is important. I put it through chat and I say, make it 15 or 1,300 characters. And then I go through that again. And then one of my prompts will be to keep the keywords, keep my like strong call to action, and things like that. So I would say for you, yes, acknowledging that the carousels, and I think what would be great for you is still that long form content and the videos as well. Some of my clients, when we write their content for them, and then they'll add more, and then I see that they've added more, and I'm like, yeah, I'm still going to like make this a little bit shorter and just explain why I don't want to like make something on LinkedIn 1900 characters because I understand that people have short attention spans and I want them to get this impactful message and not jump off. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. And like when I'm just kind of I think I'm thinking about like the larger strategy as well too. Because it's like, if I'm spending X amount of time creating content, like is there ways that I can like repurpose? Is there ways that I can yeah, sort of like maximize the value from it. Obviously, like my number one social media platform of choice is LinkedIn. And so like my focus is there, but is there ways that I can like I don't know, like repurpose or reuse or yeah, so
Yeah.
something.
Well, I'll share. So in my LinkedIn newsletter this week, I spoke about repurposing. It was really important for me to speak about confessing, like LinkedIn is my number one platform. However, I'm going to confess to you because I saw all of the fear that people had on with regards to TikTok, and I totally get it. Like TikTok really helps a lot of business owners, but even though, like for me, LinkedIn is great. I'm going to share something that when I pivoted to focusing most mainly on LinkedIn, though like my clients, they're on other platforms as well, but one of their platforms needs to be on LinkedIn. And when I started like really tightening up my message, it was in June into July. I was sharing like that LinkedIn focus, problem focus messaging. And I don't mean problem focus where it's scaring people. I don't think we need to scare people. And, but within the month of June and July, it was like 2 weeks, I had 13 people reach out to me. And for me, I've never had that many people reach out to me in the month of June going into July because I find like I try not to tell myself this story, but maybe people are kind of slowing down. But I had quite a few people reaching out to me. So anyway, in my LinkedIn newsletter, I spoke about ways that I repurpose. So I know that you have some LinkedIn newsletters, Jody. And so things that you can do to save yourself time is that you can upload it into chat and ask Chat GPT please make this into two posts specifically for LinkedIn. And you can maybe tweak it where it's like, please make one of them more for this audience. And then, please, be sure to include some bullet points and a call to action. So then that way you've taken your LinkedIn newsletter, you put it into chat, and you've created like two social media posts. Something that I have found, and I don't know if anyone does that, but when I've like put in four, when I've asked chat to do four, I find like the fourth one is really watered down, so I don't ask for four anymore.
Okay.
But that could be an example. And then um, I've heard this at a networking event that I attended, and the person who was doing the presentation, she said one blog post is actually 40 pieces of content. I cannot remember how she did that, but I know when I tried to do this on my own, I definitely got 20. So your LinkedIn newsletter, that could be a graphic. So you can pull out a strong sentence out of there, and that's now a graphic. And now you can create a caption to go with that as an example. So there's so many different ways.
That's helpful. I'm going to take that advice because I have not thought of that. So thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome. So Patricia, I see your hand, but I'm going to take a look at FIFA. FIFA, that's another reason why I want to focus on long form content first and then repurpose from there. Yes, for sure. And you can even put those on your blogs as well. Mhm. Patricia, yes, what were you putting your hand up about?
I'm at an old-fashioned computer, so I hate bending over to the keyboard. Okay, so on chat, where do you ask that? Like I have, what section, like what one is it that you click on to get these posts, different posts out of a bunch of copy?
Yeah, so when you go into chat,
Mhm.
the main area, they got that square that you could put it in. Like Chat GPT has different sections of how you can use it. Um, but what I do for myself is that, um, yeah, so let me just redo this. So I
Just getting
put,
it here.
oh, yeah, no worries. So what I do is I say in Chat GPT, um, you are Dee Boswell-Buck, LinkedIn strategist for entrepreneurs and business leaders. You are no nonsense, if you're no nonsense, Patricia. You are confident. You put in like a few things. Some you don't want to like put too much in there because then chat is like, who are you? I don't know. Are you afraid? Are you confident? And things like that. And then I will say, please take this newsletter and please create it into 2 posts that I can specifically use on LinkedIn. And you could write in there, please end with a strong call to action. And as you are working with it, and you start to see what it spits out, always take a look at it and always, like, even though it gave that to you, highly recommend that you go in and you edit it. Sometimes chat will say things for me like full potential, and I'm like, I don't speak that way. So there's many like words in there, and I don't use lots of rocket ships, if any, and or the bullseye, like, so you can even ask it to do like um less emojis, etc. So you're just, as you start to get your content, and if you don't love exactly what it spit out, or you feel like there could be some more things in there that could make it even better, then you could, after it spits it out to you, you just think about like, what is it that you would say to yourself after you're writing? You know what? I think there could be less emojis, or I think like this could be more impactful. And then it's like just asking it to make it more impactful, and then it creates it for you again. Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question, because I'm new to LinkedIn. I mean, I haven't been on LinkedIn for a long time. And what are impressions when it says impressions? That's
Oh,
just
okay.
somebody looking at it?
Yeah. You know what? I still have some more screens open, so I'll definitely share with you what the impressions are and what they look
Okay,
like.
thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. So yeah, so if anyone, I don't know if anyone has anything more about carousels. Those are really great questions. And yeah, thanks for calling it out, Jody. So about that, they can be kind of time consuming. So I hope we got some like good information there about what it is that, how it is that we can repurpose. And even Jody, you can take that LinkedIn newsletter and ask chat to help you to create a carousel out of there as well, or give you some carousel ideas. Yeah.
A great idea. I'm gonna do that.
hmm so Patricia, I think I'm going to answer your question now about how to get attention to your events. Okay. Now, here's my question to you. Is the event that is happening, is it virtual or in person?
It's virtual.
It's virtual. Okay, so here are a couple of things that you can do. So you can make it a social media post. Now, when we're making a social media post about any events that we are having or a movie that is launching, we do not want to assume that because we shared one post, everybody saw it and we're afraid now to share another post.
Yeah,
And so if you go back and do a scroll back into October, you will see that so I had an in-person workshop, and I shared about the in-person workshop a lot.
yeah,
Now, I do want to say this. Now, a thing that people make a mistake of is that when they are having an event, all they share about is their events. And the thing is that not everybody who's following you or watching your content wants to go to your event. They might just want to work with you and have you like work one-on-one with them. So I would say that when you are sharing your about an event that you are involved in, You can have like you can have two that are back to back, but do not forget to share about your business too. Um, because then what happens is that when your event is over, no one was reminded about the fact of how it is that you work with them. So I just wanted to say that because that's a major mistake that I see. So sharing your event, that could be in a way of a social media post with just the graphic image. Or I was involved in an event last May, and actually FIFA was one of the planners for the event. And they would go live on Instagram, right? Not that you're on Instagram, but we went live on Instagram, and then I took that live and I downloaded it and I shared it on LinkedIn. So now I was able to get people interested on LinkedIn because I had that content and I repurposed it on there. So on LinkedIn, it could be that you're showing up on the platform and it's a video telling everybody like why it is that they should come to the event. And another thing that you can do is you can make it as an event on LinkedIn. So I do my Strategize Your Business Online, my Wednesday event on my Wednesday live on LinkedIn. Now, when you are sharing an event on LinkedIn, an event can go either can stream live, but we're not speaking about that. What you could do on LinkedIn is that it is a different graphic. So you're going to have to do like the right size for that graphic. And you share it that it's going to be an event. And in your caption, you want to be very clear that this is a virtual event so that people don't wait for it to be live on LinkedIn. So you would want to share some information that where the call to action is that in order to attend, click on this link and also in your description, you'd want to say that this is happening live on Zoom. Click on this link to register. Now, something that you can do that a lot of people don't think about is that with the events, so whenever I do an event, I always invite people who I'm connected with. And so you can invite up to 1,000 people to attend your event, or I invite up to 1,000 people to attend my live, but I don't pick everybody because I have people who I'm connected with on LinkedIn who are past coworkers, and also the individuals who I'm connected to on LinkedIn, maybe that actual topic that I'm speaking about is not going to be aligned with like what it is that they do. So of course I mentioned your event is, you mentioned to me that the event is not a live, they have to go to a Zoom. So you have to be very explicit with your description there. Now, what people usually tend to do is that they see it and they're like, yes, I'll attend. So what I've done for a client who had her event on Zoom is that what we do is we go back to everybody who said yes, that they will attend, and we go back to that person. So it could be, Felicia, thanks so much for being interested in attending. Um, Here is the link for you to register. Can't wait to see you there, something to that effect. So sometimes, maybe Felicia's like, yikes, I thought it was just a live on LinkedIn. That's sometimes the case. And then in a few cases, it could be that people are like, oh, you know what? I do have space on my calendar. Okay, well, let me go and register. So that's a great way to get people to that page where in the direct messages, you thank them and you share the actual link to go to, and then they can click through.
Great.
Yeah.
And okay, I have another question. Hashtags, those are picked up by LinkedIn, right?
You know what? Hashtags on LinkedIn, so they announced it last year. You don't really need to focus. You don't really need to use hashtags at all anymore. So that's why I really want everyone to remember that when you're writing that caption, think about some of those keyword phrases that your audience would be looking for. Now, sometimes why you might want to use a hashtag. So one of my clients in California, like we talk about, caring for, I'm thinking about a post that we wrote for her for this coming February, where February is Caregivers Month. And we got all of this information, and we also created a graphic. And when we went to that website that focuses on Caregiver Month, or we also spoke about Heart Health Month, we went to the American Heart Association. They literally had it on their website to use that hashtag. So in that case, we have that there because that would be a great hashtag to follow, and they're also going to be using it as well. But hashtags, you don't need to, they don't really help you as much anymore.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yeah. So let me go to, so Lorna, I don't see Lorna on the call anymore, but she did ask me a question via email, and I'm going to answer her question, but I'm going to go straight to, I'm going to go quickly because I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So yes, so Lorna, her question to me in an email, in case she wasn't able to stay on, was that she said that she wasn't really converting, like she wasn't getting people to reach out. So I took a look at Lorna's LinkedIn account. So Lorna, something that I would recommend to you are some of these things. So thinking about like, what are your 3 things that you're focused on in your business that you serve, and and for the most part, speak about those 3 things. I say for the most part, because once in a while we can have that personal post. So for instance, Lorna has this one here, and it's talking about etiquette consulting. Now, this one here talks about before saying I do, consider how is it that you represent yourself. Now, she talks about helping brides. And I would say that, say, for this social media post here, I really like the fact that she has this quote here at the top. But I would say that this quote here speaks to anybody who wants to like improve their image. And I would say that at the very top, she could start with a hook that speaks to somebody who is getting married. And it could be a quote that she found, or something that she has, a quote that she's created herself, so that when somebody is like on their way to getting married, like right away, it will like literally grab their attention. And as I mentioned before, we don't need to have these hashtags. Something that I would mention, Lorna, here is that some of your images, like I really understand what it is that you're conveying, but I think about like when I think about John F. Kennedy, like I know Jacqueline Kennedy before, but then like what goes into my head is that things I've heard about John F. Kennedy and him and Jack and his wife and things like that. So this picture here might not resonate. So who are like some individuals who have gotten married that we can all really resonate with now or within the last 10 years that we follow? Or I'm even thinking, depending on the age, like Paul Newman and his wife, like thinking about some things that we have this assumption that we see that everything is fine. Then I do love this one here about this being a wedding, like working at a wedding show, and RSVPing about some more information. But I would say, Lorna, like, your content, just keep on working at your content, because I know it's recent, and I've really noticed that you are sharing content at 6 a.m., 6:30, which I think is great. Like when I open up my phone, I see that, and I think that's great for your audience. Also, just think about some of the images that you're using. And this one here, I think that this collage of images would have been really great if it was a carousel, so that we could just like swing through and take a look at it. So there's your content. And then last but not least, Lorna, I would say, um, maybe you can share with us in the group, like who are you sending connection requests to so that your content is resonating. So I wanted to speak to that. So I know that I wanted to talk about LinkedIn Premium, but I would like to practice my video skills and make a video about that and then upload it into the group. And then I'll be able to spend more time about why you might want to consider LinkedIn Premium, or like what you should be doing first before you decide to pay LinkedIn for LinkedIn Premium. Okay, so it is 2 o'clock. Oh, I do have to get on a call, but thank you, everybody. And if you have any more questions, this is going to be shared into the group. Please share that into the comments. So thank you, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Yeah.